Hello everyone, I'm Adi. I'm an intermediate over the board chess player, and welcome back to the Puzzle Rush series. So this is a survivor series. I'm aiming to break my highest score, which is 39. In the last video, I thought it was 36, and when I went above 36, I was so happy. But at the end, it appears that it was actually 39. So I'll be aiming to break it again. So let me start. Excuse me. So this is a back rank mate, which is after queen takes e1 should be mate. So probably I won't be spending a lot of time on the easiest possible. Rook h7 comes to mind, check. The pawn on h4 is taking the g5 square away from the king, so that should be mate. There's back rank issued, so after rook e8 there's nothing defending, checkmate. So the immediate thing that comes to mind is rook d8 check, queen takes d8, and after rook d takes d8 check, there's no king h7 because of the bishop on because of the queen on c2, so that should be the move, checkmate. So this appears to be another back rank issue. After rook d1 check, the only move is rook e1, and after rook takes e1, that should be mate. Yes, so rook d1 check, that should be checkmate. So white to move, the immediate thing that comes to mind is queen b8 checkmate, and there's nothing protecting that square, so I think queen b8 is mate. And here already, if I try queen takes c1 check, there's king b3, and after rook c3 there's king a2, and then I think I'm able to play rook a3 checkmate. Yes, so queen takes c1 check. Well, it doesn't prompt me to do the follow-up. So queen b2 comes to mind, check. There's no king d2, there's no king c2, and there's nothing protecting the c2 square, just to confirm. So queen takes b2 is mate, and black to move in this position and give a mate. Well, maybe not to give a mate, maybe just to win a pawn, or maybe to just win the queen. So bishop f5 comes to mind. That would be a discovered check and picking up the queen. So bishop f5, king takes f7, and bishop takes h7. If king g7, then I move back my bishop, and I'm ready to sacrifice my bishop for the pass pawn on h5. So I'll play this. That was checkmate. Can I sack my queen in this position? I don't think that is necessary. So queen takes d1 is the obvious check in this position, which is queen takes d1. Excuse me. Actually, I'll be trying to just slow down and check, look what's going on in the board before calculating anything, because I think that's one of my issues at the moment, is just straighten up going to calculation without properly evaluating the orientation on the board. So the rook on d1 seems to be hanging, and in this position, after I have check, so I'm going through check, captures, and threats. So the first check I have is I have knight c3, but there's queen takes c3. I have queen takes a2, there's king takes a2, and the other check, well, I should be the first forcing move. So after queen takes d1 check, there's no escaping of the mate, so queen takes d1, and here it appears that I'm down a rook, and I'm down, yeah, and I'm down a pawn, so it would be best to find the checkmate in this position. So check, the first checks that comes to mind is queen e7 check with no escape square for the king, so I'll go ahead and give the check. And white is down a bishop, a knight, and 3 pawns, so it will be best to find a checkmate in this position. So the first check that comes to mind is queen takes c5. Queen takes c5. If king e8, I have rook d8, checkmate. If queen takes c5, if f6, I think I have queen e5 check. And if the king comes to g8, rook d8 is going to be my move regardless of what black does. So I'll take on e5 check, and I'll give a check on e7. I almost messed that up. So I'm down. So I have two rooks, so I'm down a piece for my extra pawn on g4. So black is up a knight in this position, so the best is to give check. So the first check that comes to mind is rook takes h7, but there's the luxury of king g8, and I don't have queen g7 check because the knight on f5 is going to capture. So if I give this check, there's no escape square for the king. Checkmate. Yeah. So black to move, I think this is a winning pawn end game. If I take on c5, king takes c5, h4, the king has to spend an extra tempo, maybe king d4, h3, c5, h2, c6, h1, queen, c7, and I think I'm in time because the king is on d7, so that will be a check. So that's this winning. Yeah, queen. I should have calculated that it's now forced. So in this position, I am down to 4-6 to 4-6. I'm down a pawn, and black is proposing or threatening to take my queen. No, threatening to take my bishop. My bad. I'm sorry. So I think it appears that the rook on g3 is pinning the pawn on g6. So technically, this bishop is hanging. At least if I play bishop takes f5, if knight takes f5, queen takes f5, there's no g5 because the pawn on g6 is pinned. I think that should be winning. Yes. And here, white to move, I need to find something to do. What immediately comes to mind is that the rook on b4 has to be defended by the queen. If it doesn't defend it, I should be winning. So there is the idea of rook e5 check. If king c4, rook e4 check. If king goes back to b5, I take on b4. King takes on a5, and that should be a winning game, delivering a checkmate with the king and the rook. So that should be winning. So if king e5, I'm trying to calculate the king has to stay. If the king goes here, no, if the king goes to 6, I just pick up the rook, and that even makes it a lot easier. So I think king c4 is a very suitable try for black, but that should still be losing. Yeah, it was. So I think this is one of those positions whereby the knight goes to d6 and give a checkmate because the e7 pawn is pinned. So if check, this can take because the queen is preventing that, so that is mate. So what is the orientation of this game? If my queen have access to the g7 file, it will be checkmate. And I'm down a knight in this position. 2-4, 2-4-6. So I have h2, g4, f2, c2, b2, and a3. So that is an f5. Really? Yeah, so that's 7 pawn for my 2, 4, 5. So that's for my 5 pawn. So I'm down a knight and 2 pawns. So the best thing is to give a checkmate or win a very huge material. So the first check that comes to mind is knight h3 check, because the king can't go here because of the bishop on c6. If I try queen here, the queen can just take. That's still gonna be losing, so I'll try this mate. So why to move in this position? Actually, luckily for me, I was studying the Arabian mate. Watch out, that's my next video. You should watch out for that on the channel. Checkmate pattern. Currently studying the auto use support book, so that was one of the exercises I did in the first chapter, which was mating motif. So this looks to me like an Arabian mate. After rook h7, the knight on f6 is doing a very brilliant job, taking away the g7, the g8 and h7 square away from the king, so that should be mate. So here already, this should be a ladder checkmate. I am down a queen because I have two rooks for the queen, so technically I'm down a rook, but yeah, this is more than a rook. This is like 4 pawns extra for white, so I'm just simply down the queen. So the best thing is just to give the checkmate. So if rook f6, king g3, rook g8 check, king h4, and rook takes h6 will be mate. If rook f6 check, no, I can't go rook f6 because I allowed the king to escape to this file. So if rook f6 check, king rook f3, if king g1, no, if king g1, rook g7 check, king h2, and there's always rook h6 at the end of the sequence. So check, and mate. Yeah. Eventually, the other line I calculated was what white decided to play, so that's why I needed to calculate all of it together. I can sack the rook in this position. I think I can. And before I do that, black is down a rook and a knight for my 2, 4, 5 for my extra pawn, so it is best in this position to give a checkmate. So the first move, the first check that comes to mind is rook d1 check, knight takes d1, sacking the rook, queen takes d1 check, king f7 is first, queen e2 check, king g3 is first, and after queen f3 check, queen f3 check, king h2 can be played, and after queen h3 is going to be mate. So let me calculate that one more time. You sack the rook on d1, knight takes d1 is first, and after queen takes d1 check, king f2 only move, queen e2 check, king g3, queen f3 check, king h2, and queen h3 is going to be checkmate. So, well, I just spent a lot of time calculating that without moving forward. So what is the material count? I have h7, g7, f7, and e6, c7, b7, and a5. So that is 7 pawns for white, h3, g4, f3, d4, c2, b2, and a2. So that is equal pawn materials. I have knight on b6, knight on f6, and bishop on c8. They have knight g1, bishop c3, and bishop b3. So that is, they have the bishop pair while I have the knight pair. My rook has not been connected yet, but I think I have the slightly safer king. So the first move in this position is to look at checks. Do I have any reasonable check in this position? No, I don't have any reasonable check in this position. Okay, do I have capture? um what can I take? I can take that, but I just sacrifice my knight. I can no, I can, yeah. So I don't have any captures. So do I have any threats in this position? Just to confirm one more time, do I have any check in this position? Check. Possible squares I can check the king is on this file, so there's none of my pieces having access to that file, which is obvious. So okay, so let's say I decide to go for something like knight d5. Bishop takes d5 is not forced, but if they decide to take on d5, knight takes knight b d5, the queen can move. Where if the queen move, I take the bishop on c3, queen takes c3, and I mean, obviously the queen on e3 is not defended, and my queen on e7 is not defended as well. So I have to look for a way to capture something. The immediate thing that comes to mind is that this bishop, the thing that also comes to mind is that this bishop on b3 is lacking enough squares. So if I play a4, threatening to capture the bishop can't go here because I just take with my knight. They can decide to take back the pawn by take with my knight or the rook, which is completely fine. They can decide to come here, I'm going to take regardless, and they can decide to take on e6, and after queen e6, queen takes, bishop takes, I'll be up then I'll be up a knight for white extra a2 pawn. So I think a4 wins. Yes, so that was the threat. So in that position, I didn't have a check, I didn't have a capture. The only thing I had was a threat. So it occurs to me that I can get away with something like an Anastasia's mate, which is like, it's not Anastasia's mate with no rook in this position, but there's always an idea of sacrificing the rook just to open up the king to have access to a checkmate. So let me do the material count. I have 5 pawns. They have 5 pawns as well. They have an extra bishop, which means that it's the best thing would be to get a material advantage or give a checkmate. So the first check that comes to mind is rook h3, sacking the rook. So you just have to sack the rook in this position. Rook takes h3, king takes h3, rook h8 check to prevent checkmate or to delay it. Queen h5 can be tried. After rook h5, king g1 is forced, and after king g1, I think I have queen h1 check, king f2, rook h2 check, king king e1, and I can't calculate it any further. So let me do it one more time. So sack the rook on h3 check, king takes h3, rook e8 check, queen h4, rook takes h4. I think I'm already in material up in that position, so maybe there's no need for calculating further. But if this was a real game, I would have to do a significant chunk of calculation. So king g1 is forced, so there's a toss between rook h1 check or queen h1 check. No, yeah, after queen g1, if rook h4 check, king here now, and okay, so this wins. So after rook h1 check, I think rook h1 is preferable. King f2, I have queen f5 check, and king e1 is forced. No, it's king e1 first. They can decide to go queen here now. So they go king g2. I think I just take the rook, rook takes, then I'll be up a queen for a rook and the bishop. Yeah, so I think I should just be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I think probably maybe queen a1 is better in that position. So white to move in this position. So what's the material count? I have a queen and a bishop and 2 pawns. For black, infinite piece. Already black has extra 3 pawns compared to mine. They have 2 rook, which is more than my queen. They have 2 bishops. They have a knight, which is like so much. So I have different options of check. I have queen a8 check. I have queen b7 check. I have queen c8 check. Now, if queen a8 check, there's knight e8, and queen takes c8 should be mate. If queen a8 check, they can try bishop b7, queen takes b7, bishop b8, bishop d8, queen takes d8, knight e8, queen takes e8 should be mate. I can't play queen c8 because the bishop covers that square. I can play queen b7 because the bishop covers that square. So I think the only options by elimination is queen a8 check, takes, and checkmate. So white to move. What's the material count? I have 2 rooks, 2 bishop and 1 knight. They have 2 rooks, 2 bishop and 2 knight. So clearly I'm down a knight in this position. I have 6 pawns. They have 6 pawns as well. But I am threatening checkmate. So so the first check that comes to mind is take queen d8 check, because I can't take on c8 because of the queen on e6. So after queen d8 check, I don't think there's a way for them to capture my pawn, so I play queen d8 thanks to the bishop on g5, mate. So black to move in this position. What's the material count? I have 2 knights, f6 and b8, 2 rooks, h8 and a8, 2 bishop, c8 and c5, and a queen which is on f4. So they have 2 knights and 2 bishop. I have 6 pawns. They have 6 pawns as well. They have 2 rooks, so the material on the board is balanced. So white is threatening to take my bishop on c5 because it is undefended, and also they are threatening to take my queen. So this is like a discovered attack on my queen on f4. So one thing that seems pretty obvious is taking. If queen takes, knight takes, and I'll be up a material. So if queen takes e4, absolutely they can play bishop. I just think then I'll take again, and that should still be winning. If queen takes e4, is there an immediate check on my king? No. The c4 is blocking the path of the bishop to give it a check, so I should take on e4. Yes. So black to move in this position. Equal pawns and equal piece. White is threatening to make a queen. Are they? No. No. So I guess gh4. So the king on g6 is doing a good job blockading the pawn. So I think that the first check that comes to mind is rook e4 check. If king here, I just take, which is the loss of their so I think after rook e4, the only logical move is for them to just stay close to their pawn as possible. Maybe, yeah, after queen d5, king takes f5, g6, then I pick it up. So I think queen e4 wins. Why can't I just calculate every other moves? Why? So I'll take king takes. I have to say out the name of the squares. So rook takes e5, king takes e5, king takes g5, king e4, king g4, king e5, king e5. If I play h5, they play king f3. So rook takes e4, king takes e4, king takes g5, king e4, king g4, king e5. I think no, king e3, king g3. If king e2, I think I can safely play king g2, and if king e5, h5, king f4 now, h4, and if king g4, I have h3. Yes, so takes, 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 takes. Yeah, I was happy I was able to control that to the end of the game. Yeah, so happy for that. So what's the material count? I have 2 rooks, a bishop, and a knight. They have 2 rooks, a bishop, and a knight. I have 3 pawns. They have 5 pawns. So I'm down 2 pawns. And white has given a family a fork on the queen and the knight. So I have to find a way to save my piece. So one thing that comes to mind is if I take now, pawn takes. So say out the name of the square. Knight takes d7. cd7. I have to spend extra time controlling this pawn, and they are going to take on c7 as well. So the first option is to calculate checks. I can't play queen f2 because rook f2 takes. Okay, so if bishop takes, so we can do a mutual pawn takes. So let's say bishop takes d2, knight takes f6. I have bishop takes c2, and if the knight comes to d7, I just take twice, and I'll put my rook on d8, blockading the pass pawn, and I think I should be fine. So once again, bishop takes bishop takes d1. If rook takes d1, what do I do then? So bishop takes d1. If rook takes d1, then I just take on d7 after cd7. Then I'm just up a queen for white extra bishop. So I think taking on d1 is best. Yeah. So is this an opportunity to get a smothered mate? I think it is. So this is 5 pawns. So I have 5 pawns, for white 3 pawns, but I have a bishop, a knight, and a rook. White has an extra rook for my extra 2 pawns, so it will be best to give a checkmate or win material in this position. So I'm thinking, okay, so I think this is a smothered mate after knight g4 check, king h1 only move, or knight g4, you can play bishop e3, queen takes e3 check, king h, they can play rook f2, queen takes f2, king h1, and queen f1 will be check. No, queen f1 cannot be checkmate because of the rook on a1. So let me calm down and calculate it again. So knight g4 check comes to mind. Let's say bishop, so knight g4 check, bishop e3, queen takes e3 check, rook f2, queen takes f2 check, king h1 first, king h1 first, and after queen g3, No, I can't play queen g3 because I have to give a check. No, I can't play queen g3 because I have to give a check. Well, yeah, so let me just calm down and calculate it again. So knight g4 check, bishop e3, queen takes e3, rook f2, queen takes f2 check, king h1. I'm already up in material. I can save my piece by okay. I think I can just go ahead and play retreating my queen, I guess. Yeah, I think I can just go ahead and retreat my queen. Even bishop e3, I can play bishop takes e3. I just think that after the king goes to h1, I don't have a check. Yeah, I think I don't have a check. That's my only issue. And there's always the idea of this check. But I think my king can escape to the other side. So I'll play knight g4. Whoa, that was a mistake. That was a mistake. Wow. Yeah, because I felt that wasn't right. Whoa, so this is my first mistake. Now I have to calm down now. Wow, that was huge. That was a big blow on my confidence, yeah. So, I'm down a queen. 2-4, 2-4-5, 2-4-6. I'm down a queen and the pawn. So the knight on f5 is doing a good job. Maybe I can try go for the Arabian mate after queen h8 check, king g7 only move, rook h7 check, mate. Because no. Rook h8 check, king f7, rook h f7 check, king here check. And I think after check, king here, check, king here, I can take on d8, and after rook takes d8, I have rook e7 checkmate. Yeah. Because if the rook doesn't take, I'll take the rook on a8 as well. So let's say, and after taking the rook, no, if the rook doesn't take, I'll just go for rook e7 checkmate. Yeah, so check, takes, yeah, so that is mate. So black to move, I have 4 pawns, they have 3 pawns. I have a rook and a bishop, so I'm down a queen. Excuse me. So I'm down a queen for my extra pawn. So the first check that comes to mind is g4 check, g4 check. The bishop on c5 is doing, the bishop on e5 is taking the g7, no, the g3 and h2 square away from the king. So after g4 check, there's no way for them to escape. So g4 is mate. Yes. So I have 2, 4, 6, 7 pawns. a3 b. So I'm also using this method to improve my visualization. So I'm not able to name all the squares properly. So I have pawn on a4, b3, c2, d3, f2, g4, and h2. So that is 7 pawns. Black has pawns on a7, b6, c7, d7, e5, f7, g5, and h6. Rook on a8 and h8. I have a rook on b1. So I'm down a rook. Black is threatening to take my my queen on e2 and my rook on b1. So I am down a rook in this position. So that means I have to go for a material advantage or give a checkmate. So what checks do I have in this position? I have the idea of queen e5 check, there's queen e7, then I'll take on queen. So let me draw arrows. Queen e5 check, black can decide to go to queen f8, queen takes h8 is it's not mate, but queen h8 mate, king e7, rook e1 check. I think king d6 is forced, and after rook e5 check is mate because of the knight on d4 taking away the 6-6 square away from the king, so that will be mate. So obviously maybe king f8 is a bad move. So after queen e5 they can try queen e7, and I have the option of taking on h8 check, queen g8, queen f8, then I have this check, rook e1 check. They can decide to sacrifice the knight and the bishop, but then I think I'll be up a huge chunk of material, so I have to calculate properly. So queen e5 check, queen e7, queen takes h8, king queen f8, rook e1 check. Let's say knight here. Now I'll take the queen and take the knight, then I'll be up a bishop. I'll be up a bishop and knight and a rook, so that should be winning. So queen takes e5 check, the option for queen here, so that's mate. So I cannot take the queen because I wouldn't have rook e1 check. So I have two rooks, f5 and f1. I have 4 pawns, a2, b2, c2, e4, g2, and h2. They have 2 rooks, g6 and a8. They have 6 pawn, a2, a6, b7, c7, d6, f6, and h6. I have a knight on d5, they have a knight on e6, and a bishop on h8. So I'm down a bishop. That's good to know. So I have to give a check. I have to end up with checkmate or a huge material advantage. So the first check that comes to mind is the rook can take, the queen can take. There's no way for the knight to give a check. I don't think so. And black is threatening checkmate, like maybe not checkmate, but to force my king here. And that will be pretty hard to defend. So if rook here check, the rook can take. If queen takes, then bishop take. Okay, so if rook f6 check, bishop takes f6, rook takes f6 check. Oh, okay, so let me come down and calculate. So rook f6 check. What if king? Yeah, what if king g7? No, I have to calculate, bro. So rook f6 check. Let's say king e8. King e8. Oh. No. So rook takes f7 check. King e8. If rook e6, there's rook takes e6. Even though knight c7 appears to be picking up the rook on b8, but then I'm not pretty much satisfied with that. Oh yeah. So if rook takes f6 check, king e8, I have queen. e7 mate. No, I don't have queen e7 mate. I don't. What am I saying? No, I don't. What am I saying? If king f6 check, king e8, I'll take on g6. Queen takes g6. Queen takes g6. Then I'll be able to have queen f7 mate. Yeah, so I'll have to take on g6, threatening to pick up black bishop. So that's why king e8 appears to be losing as well. So rook takes f6. So rook takes f6, bishop takes f6, check. Rook takes f6, check. If king e8 now, again, I'll take. If they take, I have the bishop on e7. No, the mate on queen e7. So if rook takes f6, rook takes f6, anyone works. Rook takes f6, bishop takes, I have queen f6 check, and after king e8 I have queen e7 checkmate. So yeah, okay, now I said to myself that I was going to calculate this. Why did I not just calculate this? Why? So there's a way for me to win the queen, which is rook takes g6, king takes g6, knight e7 check. If the king move, I pick up the queen. So if rook takes, king takes, do I have a mate? Queen f6 check. King king h7 only move. I don't think I have queen h7. My queen is on f6. I have queen f5 check, but there's just king. There's king h8. So if I win the rook takes, I'll be up a queen for. So if rook takes, I think I have queen e7 just winning this knight as well. So I think that wins. Yeah. So that was the best move in that position. So I think this is more of the opening stage of the game, I guess. Excuse me. So equal pawn, 7 pawns. No, I'm up an extra pawn. Sorry, excuse me. I have an extra pawn on d6. 2 knights, 2 bishops, 2 bishop, 2 knights as well for them. But black is threatening what exactly? Take on a6, bishop takes on a6. Yeah, so I don't see. So do I have any reasonable check? No, I don't. So I don't have any check. Do I have any captures? I can capture. There's nothing for black to capture in this position. So I think black is threatening this. If I move back, then they can take here now. And if they take twice, no, the bishop can take twice now. So I think maybe that is pretty much bad for me to play. So what threats do I have in this position? If I play knight e5, there's queen here check. No, there's queen a4 check, and after b5, bishop b5, a b5. I think I'll be up a pawn. So if knight a5, queen b4, if d5, d5, this is murky. Yeah, d5. If the queen move, I just d5, queen a4 check, bishop d7. If bishop b5, bishop takes on b5, knight takes b5, a b5, and the rook is protected by the queen. But a b5, they can take with the queen check, right? Oh, check. Maybe I just play king e7. So knight a5 looks very much interesting. And if I play b5, what happens? So b5, bishop d3. Oh. So what is my plan here? So d5, ed5, knight a5. I don't want to play knight to d4 because that's just offering to trade. So if b5 now, bishop, even bishop e2 is fine, I guess. Bishop e2, knight a5, and the queen moves. And what is my move in that position? I absolutely have nothing. Okay. Okay, so I'm very sure the move is going to be between knight a5, b5. So d5, ed5, ed5, bishop takes d5, and I'm down a pawn. Okay. Wow. I mean, this is a very hard one. So knight a5, the queen has to move. So knight a5, I mean the queen has to move to save the bishop. So knight a5, if queen a4 check, I have b5, bishop takes b5, b5, maybe queen takes b5 check, but after bishop d7, I'm winning the piece. So knight a5, I guess. So they played bishop b4, which I've calculated earlier on. So after d5, so d5, bishop b5 check, a b5, knight takes b5. No, I mean bishop d5, they just have to move the queen. No, d5, bishop b5 check, a b5. If queen takes b5, bishop d7, and I should be fine. So d5, yeah. So this, yeah. I mean that took me too long to calculate it. That's pretty hard. So I have a pawn. Good news to me. I have a pawn. Good news to me. For their 5 extra pawn, like for their 4 extra pawns, so I have to give a checkmate. There's no material winning here. So if I start with queen h6 check, they have access to the g4 square, and after queen e5, they will queen. So if I go queen so if I go king f4, they play king h4, rook h6 is mate. If I go king f4, if the queen, rook h6 is mate again. So king f4, and they tried this. Why did I not calculate something like this? I think I can take queen, then I come back to give a checkmate. Yes, checkmate. So I have 7 pawns for the 7 pawns as well. I have a bishop, 2 rooks for their 2 rooks as well. So equal pawn material, and they've completely locked up the position with a4. So how do I improve? Do I have a check? Yes, I have a discovered check with d5. No, with d3. Right? If I play d3, they have the options of going queen e3. If queen e3, I can take on c2, threatening to take the rook on d1. So they don't have a time. They don't have the time to take bishop d. They don't have the time to take bishop d3. And if they play something like queen, nice, nice. Yeah. So what do I do? What do I do? So d3 checks. I mean, that's the only check I have. d3 check. If rook e3, I'll take on c3. I'll take on c3. Queen takes c3, rook takes c3, and bishop takes e3. And how do I develop from there? Nice. I think this is how I develop. So d3 check. Whatever they do, if they decide to play this move, I can take on c2 with the hope of bringing my bishop to c5. So they don't have a time to, if they take here, if bishop takes, rook takes, rook takes. Yeah, so I think d3 wins. Okay, why can I not just calculate the king moving? Why can't I just do that? If dc3, queen takes. So if dc3, queen takes d8 check, rook takes d8, rook takes d8, bishop takes d8, and there's no mate because my bishop on e7 is doing a good job defending everything together. So if I take on here, threatening to move the rook, if they move the rook, they lose the queen. If they don't move the rook, they lose the rook regardless. So I'll just play this, and now this. Why can I not? Like, why am I asking myself why I can't calculate all the time? So this is a good strategy. If I take check, rook, queen takes, if I take the queen, bishop takes, then I take, so I'll be up a bishop. So queen takes c2, bishop takes c2. So queen takes c2, they can give rook d1 check, bishop takes d1, rook takes, and I will take. Yeah, so I have to take on c2 first. Yeah, so this is what they decide to do. If I take with the bishop, I'm just down a lot of pieces, so I'll take here, and just give me, it will just be equal material at the end of the day. So 2 rooks, 6 pawns, I'm down 3 minor pieces. Oh, excuse me, that's nasty. 3 minor pieces, wow. Excuse me. That's a lot. That's a lot piece. So I can so the first check that comes to mind, it has to be a checkmate of getting an huge chunk of material, but winning 3 pieces back is quite a loss in this position. So queen f2 check. After king h1, I don't have check on the light squares, which means the king is absolutely untouchable on the light squares. So if I'll be spending an extra tempo playing something like this to give a checkmate on h3, but that gives black enough time to just recuperate. They can even, I think they can even just play rook g2 or something like bishop g2, and after rook h3 they will just take, and I'll be hopeless in that position because they just have a very dominant control on the light square. So the second check that comes to mind is rook takes f2 check. If they play king g1, queen h3, queen g3 check, king h1 only move, and queen h3, queen h2 will be checkmate. So after rook takes f2 check, they can try king h1. After king h1, I have queen takes h3 check, king g1, and queen h2 should be mate again. So let me do that. Check. Yeah, so that's checkmate. And that's not mate, they have one more move. So yeah. So black to move in this position. I have 2 rooks for a queen, but I'm down a bishop. I have 2, 4, 6, 7. I have 7 pawns while they have 4 pawns, so I'm up 3 pawns for the bishop as well. Wow. So they are threatening to take my bishop. They are threatening to take my rook on c3. So bishop takes b3, a b3. I think the first thing that comes to mind, I don't have a check, is the rook. So rook takes b3, a b3, d2. There's no queen e1. There's no queen a1. Regardless, I will give a check. So it's better to eliminate this bishop. So rook takes b3. Do they have a zook? Do they have an intermezzo? No, they don't have a check without me capturing their pawn. So I'll just take on b3. So this I thought that I could do. Ay ay ay. Ay ay ay. Why have I messed this up? Why have I messed this up? Ay ay ay. I think I can defend with yeah, I think I can defend with rook d5, queen rook d5, queen c8, or even queen b8 check, king g7. There's no queen d5 check because of the rook on d5. So that's why I'm preferring d5. I don't want to leave my piece hanging at the end of the day. So if rook d5, they play queen c4, queen c4. I'll play d2. If queen takes b2, if queen takes b3, I'll be queening. So I think rook d5 makes a lot of sense. It's defended by this pawn, and there's no way for them to. So rook d5, they can give a check on b8, and after king g7, there's no check on e5, and there's no check. Yeah, so that's it. So here, here, and I'm winning. Yes. So I have a bishop and a knight with 3 pawns. So I'm having 2 pieces for their rook. So clearly they are up a bishop and they are up a pawn. No, a bishop and a pawn. Yeah. So I'm losing. So I have to find a checkmate or a clear material advantage. Wow. Hmm. Wow, this is nice. Hmm, nice. So bishop takes g6. Bishop g6. d3 check. King f7. Oh wow. So why is knight g6 no better than bishop g6? So knight takes g6, rook takes g6, bishop takes g6. I have a bishop. So is it not the same thing? I think knight g6. They are in time to capture on c6, c7. And this pawn are just too overwhelming. So the best option is to take like this, because I don't want to give them access to the c7 pawn. So after bishop takes g6, if they try something like d5 check, king f6, they have to move the rook, and there's not a lot of space for the rook to go. Yeah, so I'll take. So this is what I thought that they could try. So king f7, d6, king takes g7. King f7, d6, cd6. Why risk anything? So it's better to just play king f7. You check, yeah. So they decide to sack it. So in this position, I have two bishops, two knights, two rooks, and one queen. They have two bishops, two knights, two rooks, and one queen. I have 2, 4, 6, 7 pawns. They have 7 pawns as well. So I'm pinning the knight on. So my best options are to take. So if I go for e4, if I push e4 now, they can take on d8, and after rook d8, they can play bishop e7 or just even move the knight. So after rook d8, there's bishop. There's knight takes e5, knight takes e5, and bishop takes e5. I'm down a pawn still, and they still have an option of taking on c7 with the bishop. So I can start with this move order. Queen. One sec. I have queen takes on d1, king takes d1, then I have e4, and after bishop e2, I have ef3, just clearly winning a knight for the extra pawn. So I think I'll take on d1. Oh, h6. What am I doing? What am I doing? If I take on f6, f6. Oh, I think I just have to move back because it's still pinned anyway. So bishop h5 is best. So I play bishop h5, take, and that is winning. So I have two rooks, a queen. They have two rooks. I have two rooks, knight, a queen. They have two rooks, a bishop, and a queen. I have 3 pawns. They have 5 pawns. So I have to give a checkmate or win a material in this position. They are trying to give a check with bishop takes g2, and after king g1, they can just take my rook on a. Yeah, they can just take my rook on. Yeah, they can just take my rook on f2, or even go queen a3 check first, and I will be losing. Excuse me. So if I go for, I think one thing that comes to mind is I have several checks. I have a check here which loses the queen, a check here loses the queen, a check here loses the queen, a check here, queen takes, and I don't have any idea if takes. If I take on f8, the king can always take, so that's losing. So why not sack the queen? Queen g6 check. If king nice. If queen g6 check and king h8, what do I do? What do I do? So queen g6 check. Queen g6 check. If fg6. If fg6. Rook takes f8 check. Oh. If rook g6, queen g6, fg6, I have rook here check, and after king h7, because king h8 seems to be losing. Queen takes f8. If rook takes f8, king h7. Wow. Am I giving checkmate or winning the piece? Oh, I don't have to sack the queen. The best method is to sack. Yeah, because I don't want to give black access to the h8 file, so I'll sack the rook. Rook f6, rook g6 check. After fg6, I have check with rook takes f8. So check. Yes, I crossed 40. Yes. The very first time I will be crossing 40 points in my puzzle survival. Yes. We did this, guys. I saw 40. Yes. With one silly mistake at the while solving it. So black to move. I don't want to be too happy now. So rook f7, rook f3 check. King g7 looks logical. Well, can I not trade the rooks? Rook h5, rook takes h5, king takes h5, king g3, king g5, king f3, king f3, where's my king? Yeah, I think I lost in the king opponent game as well, but I think this should be winning. I think this pawn game is winning with the f6 pawn. I think that I can force an opposition. So let's say rook h5, rook takes h5, king takes h5, king g3, king g5, king f3. I have f5. If they play king g3, I have f4. If they play king f3 now, I can simply play king. F5 back, and we play king a3. No, they can't play king e3. Yeah, so they have to like step back to one of the sides. So if they move back, I come to the other side. Maybe I'll play king g5, and if they come in again, no. So let me draw the arrows to calculate. So rook h5, rook takes h5, king takes h5, king g3, king g5, king f3, f5, king g3, f4 check, king f3, king f5. So if king goes to f2, then I have king e4 or king g4, so the king can comes to f3. So I'll be able to get an opposition with so after king e4, if king f2, no, if king f1, then I'll have king f3 gaining the opposition, and after king e4 I'll have king g2, and I'll be able to queen. Yeah, so oh wow, they're even trying to do this. Wow. And I mean, king and pawn endgame is just so hard. Now I have to calculate all possible moves. Now I have to calculate king g5, king g4, and f5. So if king g4, king f2, f5, king g2, f4. So what I'm going to do is g4, king f2, king f4. Now if king g2, I'll play king e5, and if king f1, if king f1, then I'll play king f3, and if king e1, then I'll play king g2, and after king a2, I'll play f5, a3, I'll play f4. Oh no. Oh, so hard. So king g4, king f2, king f4, king f1, king g3. This is so hard. I'm so desperate for, I want to cross 40. So king g4, king g4. So king g4, I'm having trouble visualizing the position in my head. So queen g4, king g4, king f2, king f4, gaining the opposition, king f4, king f1, king f3, king e1, king e1. I think I can play f5, because if I play king g2, there's king g2. If I play f5, there's king e3. f4 can be played because the pawn is going to be taken. So after king f3, king e1, I'll play f5. If they play king f1, I'll play f4. So after king e1, I'll play king g2. If king g2, then I'll be able to have f3. Yeah, so that wins. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't even ask me up to that, and it just. So white to move. Wow, it's already getting tough now. So if I take the bishop, there's knight e3 for obvious reason, taking my rook. So what I can do is to give a check, which is, I have various checks. I have rook d1 check, then I have rook here check. So for obvious reasons, so rook f5 check. Let's say king here now. King here, I'll give a check one more time. And when the king's move, I'll be able to take. I just have to get my knight away from the dark square. If I go rook d1 check, there's just king e2. I think king e2 now. Rook d2 check, and there's king f1. There's king f1 already. So what's the difference between the two? So rook f5 check, king e2, king e2, then I have rook e5 check, king d1, I'll take the bishop on d8, then I'll be trying to give a checkmate with the rook. So but what's the difference? After rook d1 check, there's king f2. After rook d2 check, there's king f1, because the king is going to refuse to stepping up. But after rook d1 check, king f2, if I take, there's knight here check. So that's why rook d1. So rook d1, king f2, rook d2 check, king f1. The king is never going to step up. White can just decide to repeat as much as possible. But after rook f5 check, king e2, I have rook e5 check. Oh no, what am I saying? After rook f5, there's just king. Yeah, what am I saying? After rook f5, there's just king g1. Oh, yes. So rook f5 doesn't work after king g1. So what I need to do is rook d1 check, with king f2, and after rook d2 check, king e1. Oh yeah, so if king e1, wow, this is hard. So rook d1 check, king e2, rook d2 check, king e1, damn, this is so hard. Rook f5, king g1. Damn, this is so hard. I've been spending close to an hour 50 minutes on this. So rook f5 check, king g1, king g1. I don't have a check. I don't. So after rook d1 check, king e2, rook d2 check, king e1. If I take the bishop on a3, king takes d2, and that will be a draw. So after rook d1 check, if king e2, I think I'm missing something very important here. King e2, rook d1. What am I missing? Rook f5, king g1. I can't go bishop a3 because knight takes a3. check, picking up my bishop and my rook. So bishop takes a3, knight takes a3 check, winning my rook. So I'm very sure I have to give a check to escape. So rook d1 check, king e2. Yeah, I think I should be able to give a checkmate with the rook against the king and the bishop. I don't think it's possible, but my days. So rook d1 check, king e2, bishop takes a3, king takes d1. Oh, what am I saying? If rook f5 check, king g1, bishop takes a3, there's knight a3 check still. That's what I'm afraid of. Oh, I get it now. So I get it now. Did I? So rook d2, king e2, d1 check. Let's say king f1. If king f1, I pick up the bishop. So if king e2, I pick up the knight on g2. Bishop takes c1. Rook g1 check. King. There's king d2. It's king d2. I know I have rook takes c1. What am I doing? I spent up to like close to like 20 minutes on this puzzle. So rook d1 check. I just can't see this properly. So rook d1, king f2. If I don't get it in the next 4 minutes, I'll probably just play wrong move. So rook d1 check, king e2, rook d2 check, king e1, rook takes g2, bishop takes c1, rook g1 check, king d2, rook takes c1, king takes c1, and that will be a draw. If king d2, rook g2 check, king. Okay, so rook d1 check, king f2, rook d2 check, king e2, king e1, rook takes g2 check, bishop takes c2. I have king d3. Oh, yeah, I think I win the bishop. Yeah, so I think I see it. So rook d1, king e2, rook d2, king e1, rook takes g2, bishop takes c1, rook g1 check. The only try to save the bishop is king d2, and after king b3, the bishop is going to be lost, because if the king moves to d1, so the king can move to d1. So let's say king comes to, so black will be in the zugzwang. They can't move the bishop because I will take. So if they move the king to, let's say e3, I pick up the bishop. Yeah, so yeah, I'm so happy for myself for finding that. I am so genuinely happy. And I am really so happy. I'm so happy for finding it, honestly. I am so happy, honestly. I'm really happy for finding that. Yeah, I am really happy. I am so happy, honestly. So I'm down a rook for their bishop, and they have an extra pawn. So the immediate check that comes to mind is I don't want to play queen takes d6 check because of king b7, and I don't have control over the light square. If I play queen d5, there's rook c6, and there's rook c6, rook c6, queen d7 check, rooks no, even rook d5 they can absolutely play king a7, and I don't have a check against them, and that will be Oshirut. Yeah, so what if I tried rook takes d6 check? If king b5, there's rook takes b6 check. If king a5, I take k5, rook takes e5 check. So that should be winning. So let me calculate it one more time. Rook d6 check. If king b5, I take the rook. I take the queen. That means I should be already winning. So the adversary rook d5, king b7, I take check. King here, I give a check. They come back, I give a check on b6. And after this check, here I can take this, and I should be winning. So yes, that was winning. I think the previous puzzle was the hardest one I've solved yet. Honestly, I think it was the hardest one I've solved yet. They are offering a queen trade. Why should I take it? Why should I take it? So queen takes c6, queen takes c7, bishop takes c7, rook c7 check. If the bishop moves back to f4, there's rook c8 check, king is 2, then I pick up the rook on h1. So because black has a back rank issue, so taking is the best. And keep it up, yes. First time solving a 2400 puzzle. I should have done that earlier. So white to move 2 bishop, 1 knight, 1 queen. They have 2 bishop, 2 knights, 2 rooks. So I am down a ton of material. I am down a bishop, and I'm down a knight and 2 rooks. So I have to give a check. So the first thing that comes to mind is queen takes f7 check. Queen takes f7 check. Really? So bishop takes f7 check, king d8, king d8, queen d5 check, there's bishop d7, bishop d7. How do I meet that? No, I don't like that. So bishop takes f7 check, king d8, and so bishop takes f7. They wouldn't want to play king d8. I'm very sure they would try something like king They're going to try king d7, but I have this beautiful queen d5 checkmate, because then they won't be able to go back, and the bishop on h5 is doing a very good job. Sneaky. Yes, that was checkmate. So I think the best way is to force black to go back, right? So instead of taking on h6, bishop takes h6. So queen takes h7, bishop takes h7, and after rook h7 check, the king always have the square to escape, and that will be all she wrote. So if I give sneaky queen h6 check, they are forced to go back here or here, whichever way. There's queen takes h7, bishop takes h7. No. I'm definitely hallucinating something. Oof. Okay. Let's say rook e6 check. The bishop can't take because I'll be having checkmate. So let's say knight e6, f6, queen h7 check, king f7, queen f6 check, king, then there will be king e8 now, and that is dicey. That is really dicey. I don't like that. So if I take now, bishop takes, so I take on h7, bishop takes on h7. No, queen takes h7 check, bishop takes h7, rook h7, and there's king g6. I don't like the look of that. If queen h6 check, there's queen, I think king g2 is a very sneaky move. Yeah, that's a very sneaky move. Because if after king g8, if queen takes h7, bishop takes h7, rook takes h7, I'll be falling to all sort of checks now. Even something like this, yeah. Okay, how about this? Bishop takes e6 check, f e6, rook g2 check, rook g2 check, and there's just knight, there's just bishop g7, bishop g7. Oh, so knight e6 check, f e6, rook g1 check. I mean, king c7 is nice, but after queen here, bishop g7, no, bishop g6. Now I have rook f1 check, queen takes f1, king takes f1, but I'm still down a huge chunk of material. So queen h, I'm already feeling sleepy. I'll probably end this by 12 because queen h6 check. I'll be very slow calculator. Queen h6 check, king g8 can be played. I don't have threat on the light square. Yeah, can I not just play knight f3 here? Can I not just play that? Can I? Or do I just like castle in this position? There's no way. There's no way I can castle in that position. If knight takes h6, queen a5 check, I'll take for sure. Knight takes h6, bishop takes here, give a check, that should be mate. I think knight takes h7 is good, but I have to calculate all the checks. The only check available is here. There's no check here, so I'll take, yeah, so that's the only check available. Yes, that was just very much easy to get by. So I'm down. I have 2 rooks, 2 knights. They have 2 knights, 2 rooks. They have 2, 4, 6, 8 pawns. I have 2, 4, 6, 7 pawn. So they are proposing a knight trade. So after hg5, knight h5 check. So after hg5, after hg5, knight h5 check. Maybe I'm playing g6. After king g6, where is the knight going? There's nowhere the knight is going. I think the knight is trapped. Yeah, I think the knight is trapped. Yeah, I think the knight is trapped. I think so. So after 8, no, I mean hg5 looks too obvious to be 2500%. So after hg5, where's the knight going? If the knight goes back, let's say 95, 92, rook h8, rook h8, king g7, queen f3 check. The king has to go back now. Then I pick the rook on h3, so play that. Oh, this they tried. Yeah, fair enough. So takes, rook takes, I'll take back. Yeah, taking back. Yes, that was winning. I'm sorry for not calculating to the end. My bad. So 2, 4, 6, 8 pawns. 2, 4, 6, 7 pawns. I have a bishop and a knight. They have 2 bishop and a knight, so I'm down a bishop. I'm down a knight. No, I'm down a bishop. I have 2 rooks. They have 2 rooks. So I'm up a queen for their bishop. So an obvious check that comes to mind is queen. Juicy. I think c4 wins back in material. But let me go for check first. So let's say queen h5 check. King d7 only move. I mean, they can play king rook g6, but I just take the rook. So king d7 only move. Queen f7 check. If king c6 now, rook c7 should be mate. Queen c7 should be mate. Because I try to play c4, they take, and this bishop takes, so I don't like that. So queen h5 check. What if they come here now? Oh, nice. Oh, nice. Oh, nice. So let's say queen h5 check. They are very stubborn. They play queen e7. Bishop takes b4 check. Now, if they play something like this, what do I do? Yeah, maybe I just take. If rook takes, No. I can just save my piece here. So rook h5 check, king e7, bishop takes b4 check. If king d7, I always have this idea, so they wouldn't want to do something like that. So they come to d8, I have bishop e5 check again. If the king moves one more time, then I'll take the bishop on b5. Yeah. So decided to go for this, and I think this should be checkmate pretty soon after this. Oh, didn't calculate it properly. Yeah, lucky. I was so lucky for that. So white is offering a coin trade, right? So one thing comes to mind. I have queen d5 check. I have queen takes. I have rook takes f8 check. I'm down a knight to 4-6, and I have to win material or end up with a checkmate. So let me calculate the first forcing checkmate, which is the first forcing one is, I think the most forcing one is here, rook d5, in the sense that if the king moves, this will be mate. So after queen d5 check, they probably want to slow you down with this, but I think so queen d5 check, king queen d5 check, bishop here. I take the queen, rook takes. No. I take the bishop with check, queen takes, rook takes on f3, gf3. I don't think that's enough. I think there should be checkmate here. So rook f6, king takes f6. Oh wow. So rook takes f6, king takes f6, rook f3 check, king e4. Oh no. So queen d5 check. If bishop e6, rook takes f6, and rook takes f8, rook takes f8, queen e6 check. Whoa. So what's my move in this position? So I have queen d5 and I have rook takes f6, rook takes f8. So rook takes f8, king takes f8, rook f4 check. If king e8 now, okay, so rook f6, king takes f6, queen f3 check, but there's just bishop here. Yeah, I don't like that. So queen d5 check, bishop e6, queen takes e6, takes f3, or queen takes gf3, and I have hg6. So I think queen d5 is more probable. So queen d5 check, bishop e6. If queen e6, I take the queen with my rook. So bishop e6, rook takes e6, rook takes f3, gf3. There's queen g1 check, which I don't like. So the best option is just to bishop e3, bishop e6, queen takes e6 check, king, queen takes e6, rook takes e6, knight f3, knight takes f3, gf3, and that's just equal material counts, and that should not be winning. Yeah, that should not be the idea. I mean, the idea is not to make the material equal. I'm very sure. I am very, very sure. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is queen d5 check, bishop e3, rook takes e6. Black is not in time to take now. Black is not in time to take because I'll be picking up the queen. So let's say queen g3. Well, if queen g3 now, no, if queen g3, then I'll be having rook, I'll be having rook g6 check. When the king moves, I'll pick up the queen on g3. So I'll go with this. Yeah, okay. Wow, there's just a lot of moves to calculate, honestly. So I can give a check, rook takes, and I'll be picking up this. So if I take check, takes now, takes this queen g1 check, and I think from there is already murky. So I will take on, yeah, I'm going to take on f8 check. Oh, f8 check, king takes f8. Oh, what am I saying? I have rook e7 check. What am I saying? Rook e7. Yeah, what am I saying? What am I doing, bro? Bro, what are you doing? I am a very, very slow calculator, and I couldn't just visualize it properly. So black to move, I have two bishops and 2, 4, 6, 6 pawns. They have 6 pawns. They have an extra knight, but their king is in a very damning position. So the first thing I see immediately is to play, let's say I play king, queen takes b2 check, king takes b2, okay, 2 check, king c1. If king b2 is all in the same position, there will be checkmate. So let's say there's king, so queen takes b2 check, queen takes b2 check, king takes b2. There's rook. Oh no. So queen takes b2, king takes b2, rook a2 check, king c1, rook a1 check, king d2. No, I don't like that. Yeah. Sorry for keeping silent. I think this has to be the hardest one yet, apart from that one. So what am I checking this option? I have queen a1 check, I have queen b2 check. So queen a1 check, bishop takes a1, rook a1 check. king d2. King d2 is the only problem giving me issues. Yeah, king a2 is the only thing giving me issues. Yeah, king a2 is the only thing giving me issues. Yeah. Yeah. And king a2 is the only thing giving me issues in this position. It's already way past my bedtime. I don't know I would last this much in this puzzle. So I have queen b1 check, king takes b1, rook a2, bishop takes a2, and after rook a1 is nothing. Do I have a deflection tactics? So let's say bishop takes d4, rook d4. No, I don't want to give up my dark square bishop. I don't want to. I think I can try this queen takes, and there will be ideas with this. No. Queen takes d, bishop takes d4, queen takes d4. I will have this at the end of that line. There's already ideas of taking. Wow, this is just way harder than I thought. And I can't even find a move. So check. King b1 and king d1 is the only check I have. Captures, I can capture on d4, I can capture on g2, I can capture on b2. So let me calculate all the capture. I can captures on b4, no b3, and I captured on f6. So let me calculate the first capture. Queen takes b2, king takes b2, rook a2 check, king c1. King c1. Yeah, king c1. Rook h1 check, king d2. Rook takes d2, rook takes d2. That is nothing. Yeah, that is nothing. So rook takes b3, cb3. No, rook takes b3, knight b3. If queen a2 check, bishop takes. Yeah, that's just a waste of tempo. Yeah. Oh. Oh, queen takes b3. If knight takes b3 now. Oh, I crack it. Yeah. So queen takes b3. Okay. Queen takes b3. And what happens after cb3? What am I saying? Yeah, what am I saying? Rook takes b3, cb3. I have this checkmate. Yeah, so I can't sack the queen. If I take, they can just take. So rook takes b3. They can't take cb3. Yeah, rook takes b3, threatening taking here twice. After rook b3, knight takes b3. Knight takes b3. I'll give a check. Give a check on queen takes b2 check, king b2, then I have bishop takes f2. Yeah, so after bishop takes f2, I'll be having two rooks, two bishop, they'll be having two rooks. Oh, let me just calculate. No, I won't be having two rooks again. So rook takes b3, knight takes b3, knight takes b3 already. Oh, then I can take the bishop on f2. So this, yeah, I just have to take, yeah. Why? Spend 10 minutes calculating that. Oops. I mean, rook g3 immediately comes to mind. Rook g3, let's say rook takes e5. Ouch. I mean, rook g6 looks unnecessary after rook e6. And if rook g8 check, king e6, queen, and rook f7 will be mate. Yeah. So if I play king g3, there's options of just going f5 ballistics. f5, f5. No, I think there's a pretty good defense. So rook g6, knight takes f3, checkmate. Yeah, but I think they no. If rook g3, there's knight takes e5. No, knight takes e5. Rook g8 check, king e7. King e7. If knight f3, they take. If queen rook takes g8, king takes g8, they'll be having a 2 rook and the knight. At the end of the day, the rook will be hanging. Yeah. So this is the concept. So let me accept the concept again. So let's say rook g3, rook takes e5, rook g8 check, king e7. There's no knight f5 because of obvious reason. The rook on e5 is going to take. So if I take the queen on d8, rook d8, and this rook will be hanging, right? Oh, if I take the rook, if I take the queen, they will have rook e5 mate. Yeah. So that's the idea. They will be having a checkmate at the end of that sequence. Yeah, so what about if I play rook dg6? If they take, I give a mate. So rook dg6, if rook takes, I give a check, and after king here, then I'll be having rook f7 check. Rook f7 check. Rook f7 check. King d6. Oh, rook f7 check. I have rook g6 mate. Oh, that's why I don't have to move my rook. So rook g6 now will be mates. So let me show it again. So rook g6 now. Rook takes e5. Rook f6 check. Oh, rook g6, rook takes e5, rook here check, king e5, then I just play this mate. Yeah, because if I play rook g6, rook takes e5, rook takes e5, if I play rook g8 check, king e7, rook f6 check, we have queen here now check, or rook here check. Yeah, so they have king e6, and after rook g6 they have king c7. So the king escaped via that. But if I play rook g6, rook takes e5, rook f6 check, king is 8 only move, and after that I have rook g8 checkmate. So yeah, is this not what I've calculated? I think it is. Yes, mate. Yes, yes, yes. Oh, I'm absolutely smashing this board, so this is good. So white to move, 2 rooks, a queen, a knight, 2 rooks, a queen. So I'm down a bishop for I'm down a bishop for my 3 extra pawns. So I have to be quick to give a checkmate, unless I am going to continue losing a piece. So their king is on a light square, my queen is on dark square. So let's say rook. So let's say knight g5 check, hg5. I don't have control over the light square. They can pick everything up. So rook takes e4, queen takes e4. Rook e2 check. Rook e1, queen d3. I still don't have control over the light square. Oh, I can pick up the queen here. So rook d1, rook c d1 check. No, rook c d1, queen c2. Sorry, I'm already famished. Rook c2, rook c2. So what am I moving in this position? I think I've gotten to the hardest part now. Knight takes c4, queen takes c4, rook takes c4, queen takes c4, rook e1, rook e1, queen d3. I don't have any control over that. So sad. Ow. Yeah, I wish there's no pawn on h6. It would have been nice. There is. Yeah, there's a pawn on h6. I'd have knight g5 if the queen is on e4, fucking the king and the queen. So rook d1, queen c2, rook d2. Is it? Oh no. If rook d1, there's just knight f2. No, there's no knight f2 check. So rook d1, queen c2, rook d2, queen a4, queen a4, rook takes e4, queen a3, and I'll have b4, something like that, and I should be winning. Yeah. Oops. I'll take, yeah. So I would have h3. No, I would have h3. Ouch. Ouch. So short. Ouch. Oh. Did I have... Yeah. Bishop b4. They play bishop b4. Check. Oh. Ouch. So rook takes e4. Takes e4. Rook d1. Checkmate. Ouch. Yeah, I mean... That was... like, what did I miss? Yeah, I will check after the puzzle. So I have 2 rooks, a bishop. They have 2 rooks, a knight. 2, 4, 5, 2, 4, 6. They have an extra pawn. They are threatening all sorts with the knight coming to b3. They are threatening all sort of nasty things. So rook c8 check. Rook c8 check. Ow. Like, why does it feel like I have checkmate? Like, why does it feel like I have the threat of winning the queen? It feels like that. So let's say rook c8 check. Rook c8. So rook c8 check, rook d8. So rook b1. No, I want to calculate the check first. So rook c8 check, rook d8. Rook takes d8, king takes d8. King queen g5 check. King g7. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. King g5, king g7, knight b3 is coming. No, I don't like it. Yeah, I don't. So rook c8 check. If king e7, I just wins the... I think I just wins the rook on h7 for free. Yeah. So rook b1, queen Yeah. Yeah, queen d4. They are still going to be stubborn about it. Queen d4, c8 check, rook d8. Ouch. I'm not able to calculate this. Why? If queen takes g6, h6, I just sack a queen. If bishop, I can't play bishop g5 because of the queen pinning my. So if queen b1, queen a2, queen a1, queen b2, rook hb2, queen c2. Ouch. Okay. So queen b1, queen a2, queen a1, queen b2, rook hb2, king c2, queen c2, rook c1, queen b2, rook b1, queen a2, queen takes b6, rook takes b6, queen takes a4, rook b8 check, rook d8. No. No. Ouch. I just can't calculate anything. I'm feeling sleepy already. Can I just be able to do this, please? I think this is the hardest one yet. Yeah, I think this is the hardest one yet. Bishop takes a4, I can't take on a5. I mean, the rook c8 seems to be the direct check that I have because I don't have queen takes f8, king give f8. No. Ouch. So rook b1, queen d4, rook c8 check, rook c8 check, rook d8, rook takes d8, king takes d8, queen g5 check, or even bishop g5 check. Oh, what am I doing? So rook d8, queen takes d8, queen takes d8. So rook c8, rook d8. Queen takes, rook takes d8, king takes d8, queen g5 check. No. I'll play queen g7. Takes queen g7. But there's rook e8 then. It's hard. So rook c8, rook d8, rook takes d8, king takes d8. So what if I do rook c8, rook d8, queen g7, queen g7, rook takes c8, queen takes h8, check, king, nah, let's king d7, king d7, queen g7, check, let's king e8, oh no, nah. King e8, no, I can't calculate further. No, I can't. Like I'm not able to see that final position. What other checks do I have? Check, check. That's not really check. So check, king takes, check, king here, and that's it. I just switched the rook. So check. If king here, I have queen g7. After queen move, yeah, probably just, oh no, here. If king moves, I just take the rook, yeah. So rook c8, rook d8 is first. Takes, queen g7, there's rook e8. No, no, no. No, 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 no. 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 Oh no. Am I gonna lose now? Am I gonna lose now? Rook c8. Rook d8. Rook takes d8. Queen takes d8. I have king, queen f3. Queen f3 in the sense that after king d7. I have queen. Oh, I don't even have queen b5 check. I have queen f3 in the sense that there's all this idea of queen f6 check. Okay. After king d7, queen f7 check, king d6. Ah, nah. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is the losing move. Oh, it's not. Yeah, this is where I'm stopping. I don't know if taking is the correct idea. King g7, rook takes, check, king here, check, king here. So check, king here, queen g7, queen g7, rook e8. So rook e8, queen f7 check, king d7. If queen f7, there's rook e8. Ouch. Let me calculate. So queen g7, take. So here check. No, here rook takes on c8, queen takes h8, check, king d8, King d7, queen g7 check. If king d6 still. Now this is the correct move. I don't see the idea. I mean, queen g5 now. Check. If I play this, there's rook e8. After this, there's rook e7. No way. Yeah, I know this is giving me access to the dark square. Yeah. So king g7 or king g5? Which one do I play? King g7 or king g5? King g7 threatens to win the rook. And after knight b3. Queen g5 is check. King e8. Queen f7. King g5, king d7. King g5, king rook d7. Queen f6, there's rook. There's a rook c8 check. So, but if king g7, here only move. Check. Can I not just win this? Check, then I just win this pawn. Here, I'll take on h7. And after knight b3, maybe I just play rook here now. What am I doing? Oh, king g7, rook e8, rook c1. Threaten this mate. Yeah. Yes. Whoa. It's 2800 level. Wow. Rook c1. Whoa. So that was the idea. I have to box the king in. Oh, nice. Okay. So black to move now. So I'm down a bishop and 2 pawns. And white's coming at me fast. Something looks pretty obvious, which is if knight f6 check, knight c6 check, king e3, queen e1 check, king f4. King f4. Yeah, I don't like the taste of that. So let's say rook f4 check. Queen takes f3. No, queen takes f4. Queen d1 check. Queen d1 check. King e3. Queen d3 check. No, queen d2 check. King f3. So my viable option is just to give a check with the knight, because if I can give a check here, takes. That doesn't seem right. I can give a check here, takes, and after check. Oh, nice. I can sack the queen. Queen d1 check, king takes d1, rook c6, double check. King, if king c1, this is like some Arabian mate. Rook d1 check, king b2, rook b1 will be mate, and if king e1, rook d1 will be mate here. Yeah. Yes. Whoa, that's 28. I mean, that was pretty. I mean, that was so easy compared to the previous ones. I spent up to like 3 hours on this now. Wow. So black to move. I can. This is a rooking game. I have no idea what's going on. Like zero idea. So h1 queen, rook takes h1. Rook g5 check. So after rook c2 check, like what do I do in this rook game? What do I do? If rook c2, king d6, there's no way for me to queen without. And probably this is one of those theoretical endgame, and I have no idea what's going on. Rook g5, king c4. So what about a3? b7 check. a3, king c6, a2, king c7, a1 queen, b2 check. No, a3, king c6. I will just try a3. I can't calculate anything for that. Whoa, that was the best move. Whoa. Whoa, I swear that was the best move. I swear. So they are threatening checkmate on a7. Oh, wow. So rook g6 check. If king b5. No, rook c6 check. Try this for sure. I can try this now. If king here, I'll take. And if they take, so check, king here. Oh, here, king here. I'll just take. And if king takes, yeah, let's probably play this. Oh, that was the best move. Wow, I wasn't calculating anything. So I'll just take b6. If king takes, then I'll be able to like walk my king here. So I'll take. Oh, That was losing. Why? Oh, I should have allowed that. I should have pushed it to. Oh, that was a 2900 level puzzle. So let me go over my mistakes. So this one, I played the best move in this position. Rook D. No. After this, I played Rook D1. They took. They took, and here I took on E4. No, I played H6. So I didn't take on E4 because of this mate. That was why I didn't take on E4. And hmm. Hmm. So bishop F4 is the move here. Bishop G6 I take. And yeah, bishop F4 is just the best move in this position. Yeah, that's the only move that wins. So H6 loses to Rook D2. The same concept. If I take now, there's just this check, king H1, Rook E2. If I played king F2, it just Rook F8 is just mate into Queen F4, and that'll be mate. Yeah. So the last one that I got lucky. Let me check. Like it was just luck. I couldn't calculate anything, and I would have been able to get away with that. I was able to calculate. Yeah. So this is just what I needed to do here. The breaking before I just had to play A2, and there's no rook A2 check again because of this B6. Yeah. And here, why was this a mistake? Because rook h6 check. Oh wow, king c7, and they pick up this, and there's no way for me to cross over. Wow, so this is why this is a draw. And that is it. Oh, no, let me put it back on the proper. That is 6. That's 13 points above my usual. No, that's 14 points more than my normal highest puzzle. So I'm so proud of this while recording. So if you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. You can feel free to comment your best puzzle rush run on Survivor in the comments below. See you later. Bye.